Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. All right, everybody, I am back. Good to be back. I do want to do something that's a little bit different on the YouTube channel today, and this is a little bit of a YouTube exclusive. I don't think it really totally makes sense for the Aaron Torres pod, so this will be a YouTube exclusive video. And one thing that I've noticed over the last couple weeks, there has certainly been an increased interest in college basketball recruiting, and I think it's with good reason, right? AAU season is done. Summer ball is done. Some kids decided to commit at the end of summer, and some, of course, are going to commit in the coming weeks after taking visits. Many are going to commit in the coming months. And so over the last couple weeks, we've talked about a lot of different kids, and it seems as though you guys and girls are very interested in this content. And so what I want to do is over the next few minutes, go through all of the uncommitted five-star players left in high school basketball and give you my best guess as to where they will end up. Call it an educated guess. I've talked to some people in the industry. I've talked to some people that are involved in some of these recruitments. I don't think any of them are by any means done 100%. But I have talked to a bunch of people over the last few weeks. I thought it'd make for a fun segment. It is worth noting I will be using the 24/7 composite rankings. And right now there are 21 five-stars in the 24/7 Sports composite. Actually, 12 of them are committed. Those 12 players, by the way, I should mention really quick, Duke has 4. Mackenzie Mbako, the number 3 ranked player in the country, wing, nice player. Sean Stewart, the number 8 ranked player, really good forward. Caleb Foster, I really like a lot. Big guard, number 19 overall. Jared McCain, a combo from California, 21 overall. So Duke has 3. Duke has 4. Kentucky has 3. Justin Edwards, who we actually talked about his commitment the other day. You can check that out. Rob Dillingham, number 1 ranked point guard in the country, committed as well, top 10 prospect. And Reed Shepard, really talented player out of Kentucky. His dad played at Kentucky. So right now we have 7 from those 2 schools. The G League Ignite program has 1 player, Matas Buzelis, top 10 player, committed to play in the G League Ignite program. Iowa State actually picked up Omaha Ballou the other day. Nice player out of Iowa, highest-ranked player in the history of Iowa to commit there. Simeon Wilshire is committed to UNC. Jacoby Walter is committed to Baylor. And Cannon Carlisle committed to Stanford. So as I said, in total, 12 of the 21 five-stars in high school basketball right now are committed. So with that said, let's get to the top uncommitted players. There are 9 five-stars right now, according to 24/7 Sports, and they're going to update their rankings soon. But as of today, these are the 5 stars that are uncommitted, and my best guess as to where they will end up. Number 1 is the number 1 player in America, DJ Wagner, out of Camden, New Jersey. I don't think you need me to tell you very much about him because I've just, at the very least, if you listen to my stuff, I've talked about him a ton on this channel. But number 1 ranked player in America, out of Camden, the son of DeJuan Wagner, who played for John Calipari at Memphis, the grandson of Milt Wagner, who won a national championship at Louisville and was recently hired onto the Louisville staff as an alumni relations director. That role allowed the school to continue to recruit his grandson without making him a coach. And so at the time, many believed that Louisville had all but locked up DJ's commitment. And I'll be honest, I said it a few weeks ago. I am guilty as anybody of feeding into that narrative and believing that DJ Wagner's grandfather being hired at Louisville means that he was ultimately going to end up at Louisville. But what I would say is, over the last few weeks, a lot has changed. And as I discussed on the podcast last week, the number 1 thing that has changed is that DJ Wagner signed a very interesting NIL deal. It is with Nocta, which is a sub-brand of Nike that is owned by Drake. And so to me, I believe that puts pretty much any non-Nike school completely out of the picture. I don't believe that Louisville, I think it's going to be tough for Louisville to bring on a player as the face of their program when he's got a deal with Nike. Louisville's obviously an Adidas school. And I think that puts Kentucky in great position to go ahead and ultimately land him. Now, nothing's done. As I said, nothing's complete. And I think DJ Wagner has even said over the last couple weeks that he does want to take some more visits. But you look at the relationship that DJ Wagner has had with Kentucky, with John Calipari, his father playing for John Calipari at Memphis. My understanding is DJ's been around the Kentucky program. He's been going to camps there. DeJuan has, just growing up. I mean, it's not like the last year or two this recruitment started. I mean, Cal has probably known Coach Calipari, John Calipari, has probably known DJ Wagner essentially since he was born. And so, yes, if you're asking me, I would say with a pretty good degree of confidence that I am picking DJ Wagner, currently ranked the number 1 player in America, to end up at Kentucky. I don't think I'm shaking or rocking any boats there because to me that feels pretty obvious. Next player up is very interesting. Number 4 ranked player in the class. As I mentioned, number 2 and number 3 ranked players are already committed. Number 4 ranked player in the class is a kid named Mookie Cook, who was initially committed to Oregon and over the last month or so actually did decommit from the Ducks. The reason it's interesting, the reason I talk about it is not because he decommitted, but he's actually been mostly off of kind of the high school basketball radar over the last couple weeks because he's actually playing LeBron James in a movie about LeBron James's life and specifically his high school career. There are pictures of it on the internet. It's kind of a really cool story, but because he's been off the radar and because he's decommitted, it's really hard to get very much really good information because I don't even think he's been focused on his recruitment over the last couple weeks and months, and it's certainly been harder for schools to kind of evaluate him and be in touch with him because he's been in Hollywood rubbing elbows with Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks or whatever. So that's a little bit of a hyperbole and exaggeration right there. What I would say is a couple things with his actual recruitment. One, again, it's hard to gauge right now. I had actually heard some reports from some people in the industry that it's possible that he just decommitted to kind of keep his name out there. He commits. He's not playing. Nobody's talking about him. This is a way to kind of keep him involved. But Mookie Cook, 6'7" senior, recently said in an interview that he really is considering 4 schools right now at this point, including the Pro Option, G League Ignite. Those 4 schools, it is Oregon, Arizona, he had some really nice things to say, as well as Kentucky and Duke. Now, with Kentucky and Duke, I'm not saying it can't happen, but Duke already has a wing that's really, really good in McKenzie and Bako already committed. Kentucky obviously just took Justin Edwards, and so I don't really see where the fit is there, and I do wonder if this is one of those, what John Calipari likes to call a hat on the table. In other words, the kid wants to be recruited by Duke and Kentucky. The kid wants the world to know that Duke and Kentucky are involved. I just don't know how much they are at this point. I think if he said definitively, I want to come, I don't know that they would turn him down, but I don't know that they're actively super hard going after him. Oregon obviously makes a ton of sense. He was committed there, although he plays high school ball in Arizona, was originally committed to, he's originally from the Portland area, which was why it made Oregon so intriguing previously. But I do think Arizona is kind of in the mix as an interesting component and an interesting element in this recruitment. He does currently, at least as of right now, play high school ball down in Arizona at Arizona Compass Prep. Ironically, one of his former teammates, Kylan Boswell, was a class of 2023 kid who reclassified and is now playing basketball at Arizona this year. So that certainly can't hurt him, keeping him close, all that good stuff. And then on top of that, remember, Arizona's got a really fun style that they have put in under Tommy Lloyd. I said this all throughout the college basketball season. Now, I knew they would struggle in the class of 2022 because most of those recruitments were pretty far along. But in 2023, Arizona already, they had the Kylan Boswell kid committed. He reclassified. They have another really talented player named KJ Lewis who's committed. They got another player I'm going to talk about in a minute that I think is all but done. And so I do think that their style of play, it's going to be hard not to be intriguing to top high school players because they get up and down, they play fast, they score, all that good stuff. Tommy Lloyd bringing that Gonzaga brand to Arizona. At the end of the day, I would still probably say Oregon. I think the G League Ignite can get in the mix. I don't think even Mookie Cook knows right now, but if I had to give a gut opinion, I would say that ultimately he recommits to Oregon and goes there, but look out for Arizona, look out for the G League Ignite program. So I mentioned a minute ago that in addition to some of the players that are already committed, there's another guy that could be in the mix. Let's get to number 7 in the rankings, KJ Evans, Kwame Evans, played at Montverde Academy, plays at Montverde Academy, and he's the one out of everybody on this list, like he's basically at the finish line. So he actually will commit next week, early August, and he is down to 4 schools. He's been down to 4 schools for about a month, and those 4 schools are Arizona, Oregon, Auburn, and Kentucky. I should mention KJ Evans, really nice player, 6'10". Obviously, he's pretty good if he's a 5-star, but 6'10". He actually kind of reminds me, he has the same body type, in my opinion, of Isaiah Todd, who actually was committed to Michigan, ended up playing in the G League Ignite program. About 6'10", can step out, hit threes, is good around the rim, defends, all that good stuff. So KJ Evans, as I said, is down to 4 schools, and it does feel like, for all intents and purposes, that he is ultimately going to end up at Arizona, and it's for all the reasons I just told you with Mookie Cook. Really talented, but this is a style of play that, look, first of all, at the most basic level, just think about it. This style of play at Arizona just put 3 guys into the top 35 picks in the NBA draft this past year. Benedict Mathurin, top 10 to the Indiana Pacers. Dalen Terry went from basically, he almost didn't declare, I know that for a fact, ends up going in the top 25 to the Chicago Bulls. Christian Coloco in early second round to the Toronto Raptors. So it's hard not to be a high school player and see the success that Tommy Lloyd had with these kids and not believe that he can do the same for you. So I suspect over the next couple days that KJ Evans, he's committing, and that I expect him to be an Arizona Wildcat. At this point, I think it would be it'd be a pretty big upset if he chose anyone other than Arizona, again, expected to commit next week. If KJ Evans is the most certain guy on this list, probably the most uncertain is number 9, Isaiah Collier, 6'4" guard out of Georgia. I really like him a lot. Super athletic, big body, but lean body. It's not like a Trevor Keels power body or Baron Davis in the old school days power body. He's I don't know how to say it, not weirdly, but he's not skinny. He's not like super bulky though. He's just got a really like nice frame to him. I think he's going to be a really good college point guard. I think he's going to be a really good NBA player down the road. Only thing about Isaiah Collier that's worth noting is a couple things. One, he has been injured over the last couple weeks now. It's nothing major. He's expected to be back by the middle to the end of August. And he's one that really, I think you can legitimately argue, of everyone on this list, his recruitment is probably as open as just about anybody. Took a couple visits. Oh, first of all, he's actually taking a visit as I record to Michigan right now. Took visits to USC and UCLA in the spring. Has visited Cincinnati. Has visited Alabama. He's from Georgia. And I just think this one's wide open. This is one that doesn't matter who you talk to. It doesn't matter what recruiting service you read. Nobody really has a great feel for this kid's recruitment. And so what I'm going to do, I know this is a cop-out, but I'm going to go ahead and not really make a prediction, right? Because 1, it would be a guess. 2, it would be a disservice to you guys if I'm giving out information that I don't think is accurate. It's a disservice to the kid, though, too. I don't think he has any idea where he ultimately wants to go. I think he's going to take it into the fall, probably take visits in the fall as he should if he's not sure. And so, again, it's not fair to me to just throw something against a wall and expect it to stick. I would say that right now he's as fuzzy as anybody. He has 0 crystal ball predictions. Saying that I know or I can even speculate where he would go is disingenuous, so I'm going to stay out of that one. Number 10, really interesting player, a player that I like a ton, and that is Ron Holland, 6'8" forward from Texas, Duncanville, Texas, to be exact. Great high school basketball program. Jamias Ramsey, who played at Texas Tech, played there. Micah Peavy, who played at Texas Tech and now is at TCU, played there. Also, Anthony Black, a McDonald's All-American who is going to play at Arkansas this year, is there. Well, Ron Holland is the next guy, 6'8", super athletic, plays really, really, really hard. And it's kind of I just like everything about him. He plays hard. He's athletic. He's got an NBA frame. He's got NBA athleticism. By the way, a good teammate. He played on Team USA this past summer, the U17 World Championships. Finishes that tournament with 11 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. I just like everything about him. He's a winner. He's about the right things from everything I hear. I don't claim to know him personally, but everyone says nothing but good things about him. recently, probably about maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, put out a top 5. That top 5 included Texas, UCLA, Texas, UCLA, Arkansas, Kentucky, and the G League Ignite. A couple things stand out here. One, I do think probably Texas and UCLA can be eliminated. I think the pro option is going to be intriguing, but it does feel like if it ends up being a college choice, it's really down to 2 schools, Arkansas and Kentucky. Now, what I can say definitively, I think Kentucky still thinks they're in the mix in this recruitment, and I think that's important because there are other recruits that it feels like they have made up a lot of ground on over the course of the summer, most notably Justin Edwards, who was a long time Tennessee lean, ends up committing to Kentucky the other day. DJ Wagner, we obviously talked about, was a long-time Louisville lean, and it looks as though he is going to end up at Kentucky. So I don't want to discount Kentucky, but what I would say is that Arkansas, it really does feel like Arkansas is in the driver's seat right now. Obviously, as I said, his former high school teammate, a kid named Anthony Black. If you have not seen this kid, really talented, 6'7", 6'8" guard. I think he's going to be a fast riser and probably one of the more, better freshmen in college basketball next year. I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. But I think when you factor in that they have a history at the school, his high school teammate is there. Obviously, he would not play with Anthony Black because Anthony Black is going to be a one and done. But it's important to me because obviously if Anthony Black has success, if he overachieves with everything else that Arkansas can offer, back-to-back Elite Eights, Moses Moody, lottery pick, NBA champion, Arkansas has a lot to offer, and I would guess right now Ron Holland ends up at Arkansas, number 10 ranked player in the class, 24/7 Sports Composite. I would not put it past Kentucky to get back in the mix, though. Number 11, kid I saw in person just the other day at the Adidas Championships, Bayfall, originally from Senegal, 6'10", crazy athletic. And what I can tell you is this. Is he a little bit raw? Yeah, he's a little bit raw. He's from Senegal, as I just said, plays high school ball in Denver. But what I would also say is watching him in person, again, on a floor full of kids that are probably going to play Division I college basketball in some way, shape, or form. He just looks different. He just moves different, and he has a different degree of athleticism. 6'10", super long, blocks shots, runs the floor. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys and girls ever attend high school events, but there's a time where a kid just, even amongst his peers, looks different, and Bayfall had that look of just like, oh, that dude's different. 6'10", he runs different than the other 6'10" kids. He jumps different. His body can contort in ways that other people can't. Gets after it defensively. Really, really, really good player. And you know how I know he was good, by the way? Because the minute I walked in the gym and he was playing, you know who was sitting courtside? Chris Beard, head coach at Texas, was sitting courtside. Bruce Pearl was sitting courtside. And Eric Musselman and his staff were sitting courtside for this kid to play. And so that shows you how important it is. The first day of the first session that coaches could be on the road, Chris Beard, Bruce Pearl, and Eric Musselman were all sitting courtside to watch this guy among many, many, many others. Now, with that said, where do I think he ends up? I do think it's Arkansas. This is another one that's an Arkansas lean. A player that he plays with, Asan Diop, is also being recruited by Arkansas. And so I don't want to call it a package deal or anything. I don't have that kind of intel. But everything is trending for both of those guys to end up at Arkansas. And both of those guys to probably, maybe commit in the next probably 6 weeks or so. My understanding is the process that is being set up is they're going to visit during the fall, probably on a big football Saturday, which obviously I think every school takes advantage of that, especially in the SEC. But when it's all said and done, I do think he's probably a kid that does end up at Arkansas. Really quickly, there's 3 other 5-stars. Let's rip through them. Aaron Bradshaw, 7'1" center, played last year at Camden High School, same high school as DJ Wagner. I'll just say this. Very interesting recruitment because as of about maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago, he said, I'm ready to commit. I know where I'm going to go. And it feels as though he scaled it back. My understanding was the thought was at the time it was definitely going to be Kentucky, but his mom was not on the visit or there was some complication and she wasn't sold. So he stepped back from that recruitment. And what I think is interesting about this one specifically is that also in that time, Kentucky has kind of picked up the slack or picked up the pace on another 5-star named Ugonna Kingsley, who is going to reclassify and essentially redshirt this year. He may play, but the point is that he's probably going to be a backup and start getting ready for the 2023-2024 season. And so I think when you factor in that Aaron Bradshaw's kind of backed off the commitment, that Kentucky is now recruiting a 5-star named Ugonna Kingsley, who will probably commit but be at least a 2-year player, I do think that pushes Aaron Bradshaw to other options. Now, Louisville has long been in the mix. Kenny Payne obviously has been a big man whisperer for as long as he's been a coach, but I think this is one that probably the pro route wins out. I just think this is one where G League Ignite feels like the right spot. A lot can change, but this kid's probably going to change high schools this year. It seems as though Kentucky is the Kentucky fever is kind of backing off a little bit. And if I had to bet, I would guess G League Ignite. Really quickly, in the 2023 247 rankings, Dennis Evans, really cool story. Fast riser out of Riverside, California, 7'1". This time last year was ranked somewhere in like the 150s. He is now in the top 20. He is a 5-star, and he's another one, kind of like Isaiah Collier. I don't even think it's fair for me to really speculate on this one. He's new to recruiting. It doesn't seem as though the blue blood stuff interests him. Kansas is really the only one that appears to be in the mix. Florida State is one that seems to be coming on strong. They obviously have an incredible track record with 7-footers. San Diego State was in early with him, but it just feels like, again, another one where I can fake speculate, but I don't even think he knows where he's looking at for school yet and what schools are really options and which aren't, and so I'm going to stay away. Finally, the last current 5-star that is not committed is Mikey Williams. I think everybody knows his story. He had over 1 million Instagram followers before he even got to high school. And I feel bad. I think he's another one that's kind of in that Amani Bates mold of too much too soon. He left his local high school to go to North Carolina a year ago. Now he's coming back. I saw him not that long ago at the Pangos All-American camp, and I'll just be real. He didn't look invested. He didn't look engaged. And as far as his college options are concerned, I do think they're kind of limited. He has an NIL deal with Puma. Obviously, we don't know what that would mean, but obviously, again, go back to the DJ Wagner stuff. I don't know that a college would be thrilled to have him on their campus with a Puma deal if he can't wear the apparel that the school is providing him. With that said, I think he's falling a little bit. I think the pro route would be the best option, and I think it might be the only option for him when it's all said and done. I would expect him to end up at G League Ignite probably. 6'3", 6'4" guard, really talented athlete, but I still think he's learning how to play college basketball. That's really it. As I said at the top, I do think there's some other guys that are going to get in the mix as 5-stars when the updated rankings happen. One is very clearly Xavier Booker, fast rising big man, is ranked in some of the services as a 5-star already. He appears to be a Michigan State lean. I think Layden Blocker, who is committed to Arkansas, Stephon Castle, who's committed to UConn, will both be 5-stars when it's all said and done. And there's some other interesting guys as well. But I hope this was helpful. YouTube exclusive. Did want to hit on the top recruits that are uncommitted. As I said, 9 5-stars that are not yet committed. If I had to guess, I'd say DJ Wagner, number 1 in the country, ends up at Kentucky. Mookie Cook, number 4, probably Oregon when it's all said and done. KJ Evans, Arizona, number 7. Isaiah Collier, it's just a complete mystery, not even fair to speculate. Ron Holland, number 10 to Arkansas. Bay Fall, number 11 to Arkansas. Aaron Bradshaw, number 14 to the G League Ignite program. Dennis Evans, way too cloudy to speculate. And Mikey Williams, the pro option. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube channel. Also, make sure to download the Aaron Torres Podcast. Drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.